Bikini Bottom seems like one of the most peaceful
Heaven.
places. You've got
Oh, that's
Goo
so
Lagoon,
AI.
the Krusty Krab for lunch, a cozy
What? That's
little
not where
theater
any of those
downtown.
things are.
Which is why the Bikini Bottomites are idiots joke isn't really about fish. It's about us. Because
That's my point. I said that. That is, oh, you thief. Something special about the SpongeBob background fish compared to other shows is just how well they reflect real people. Oh, you. No way, SpongeTruths. I can't get enough of this guy. Are we ready for some SpongeTruths? Are we ready for some SpongeTruths? I watched SpongeTruths a while ago and it sucks. Well, I make SpongeTruths fun because I destroy it. I tear it apart. Yeah, so there is a this works, this doesn't. I know. We're gonna watch this video because this is the one I want to talk about. SpongeTruths is doing a this works, this doesn't. And if you're a fan of the channel, I love this works, this doesn't. This works, this look at all my this works, this doesn't. 1, 2, 3. Bad lesson, good lesson. It's not always this works, this doesn't. Not deserved, totally deserved. It's a good thumbnail formula. You know what the silly thing is with the SpongeTruths? So it's this works, this doesn't. But this is this doesn't, this works. This doesn't, and then this works. That's not how the English language works. In the English language, we read from left to right. So it should be this works, this doesn't, not this doesn't, this works. All right, so let's talk about the main subject of this segment. I'd like to watch this video. Why are the inhabitants of Bikini Bottom such jerks? And I'm kind of drawn to this video a little bit. Like I'm just a little drawn to it. One, because I like that the cop says racist, and I'm just really curious if that pays off in the video. But another thing is that this is a kind of video that's like been done a lot. Like the thing about SpongeTruths is that SpongeTruths is unoriginal. Look, like with like the this works, this doesn't, I'm not like mad that if you're a content creator out there and you're like making SpongeBob videos or any kind of videos, if you look at this and you're like, oh wow, this works, this doesn't is a good formula for getting clicks on a thumbnail. Like if you see that these work on this works, if you see that it works on my channel, I think you should do it. I mean, don't do the same font and the same color and the same thing. Like, you know, switch it up a little bit, which SpongeTruths, to be fair, did. But like, you could do this works, this doesn't. I don't think I'm the first person to do this works, this doesn't. But it's the fact that if you're AI, you are unoriginal. Like if everything you do is unoriginal, even stuff like this works, this doesn't, which would be like fine. Like if you look at like, this is Ave. Like good trash, you know, like, and my thumbnails are very similar to Ave's. I've been told that like, you know, my font size, like mine has a little bit of a glow to it, but like all these, Ave likes, red text. I prefer white text. Funniest episode ever. You know, this makes no sense. You know, like I've been told that there's some, but like, that's fine. Like we're both human creators and we have different ways of looking at thumbnails. But anyway, why are the inhabitants of Bikini Bottom such jerks? Like this has been done before. Like I just searched SpongeBob background fish jerks. We got Pie Guy Rules from 10 years ago. Why are the background fish such jerks? What a strange thumbnail. I thought this was a really odd thumbnail, but then I saw that it was 10 years ago. So the YouTube thumbnail meta was just not the same 10 years ago from Pie Guy Rules. Square theory, so I guess it's a theory video. And then from the Lydia Loves Timelines channel, I think this is animation focused stuff. I haven't really seen a lot of her work, but I've seen her thumbnails around. Why are SpongeBob background characters so mean? You know, like it's just been done. It's a common thing to talk about. SpongeBob background characters are unhinged. They're gonna beat you up over a Krabby Patty. We all know. It's a fun part of the show. In fact, my very first video on this channel is about that subject. I didn't do why are the background fish so mean because I know that had been done a lot. Like I had seen this stuff. I think this video, wait, is this one before? Yeah, 1 year. It says 1 year ago. This was November 2024. I believe this video is older than mine because I saw that this video existed and saw that it was an important subject, but I didn't just take her idea. I saw, here's a popular video about the background fish. I want to talk about the background fish from a story perspective. So that actually was the subject of my very first video. So we'll see, because SpongeTruths steals. We'll see if there's anything in this video that's from this video. We don't know that for sure. Why is the cop racist? We have to know. Okay, place your bets. Let's do a poll. Do we think, and no cheating, if you've seen the video, all right, honor system, guys. I'm gonna ask the question. Do we think that the video will actually say anything about the cop being racist, or is it just in the thumbnail and it doesn't get brought up? I'm gonna say I think no. Okay, we got a big no. I think no. Now, I think logically no. I hope it does, because it would be good content if it is. All right, we're getting a lot of no's. A lot of no's. Okay, most people say no. Makes me think it's likely it's not. I would be a little disappointed. No, 84% no. People think that we are not going to address the racist cop. Because what would that even be? I mean, I haven't seen every episode of SpongeBob. Is there a modern episode? Like, there are SpongeBob episodes that are about racism. Squirrel jokes. I think the thumbnails can be similar as long as the videos themselves differ. Of course, and like I said, if you're an aspiring creator who does not use AI, look at my thumbnails and be like, which of my thumbnails are working? But look, yeah, it's even, so my this works, this doesn't. So look, this is my Nosferatu video. So it's actually more similar to my old this works, this doesn't, because it uses the paper and it's yellow and red. My newer ones, I should actually change these because my newer ones do better. My newer ones are red and green. Red and green is better than yellow and red, because this works should be green. This doesn't should be red. I think back then I thought that green text was going to perform poorly. And I do this little white thing in the middle. It's just better than the paper. I don't like the paper anymore. This is a weird render here. This is probably AI. It looks AI. I think it's AI. Yeah. I mean, I've also never seen this image of Bikini Bottom before.
Bikini Bottom seems like one of the most peaceful
Heaven.
places. You've got
oh, that's
Goo
so
Lagoon,
AI.
the Krusty Krab for lunch. A
What? That's not where any of those
downtown.
things are.
It's a
Apparently my channel editor thinks that they're using like similar footage times as my video. Yeah, in my grandma's kisses video, I used actually my editor, because my editor picked out the footage. I do like final touches. The way my editing process works is I record the video, I give the footage off to my fiance, who's my editor. She plugs in the footage, and then after I go through, I put in some finishing touches, and I do like I do like editing magic if there's any like fancy edits and stuff. But she puts in the footage like in sequence. She's really good at it. She's better than me at choosing the right footage. She'll pick really good footage. And this is from my, this is like the exact shots. Not this one. I've never covered this episode. Can we get a direct comparison? Yeah, sure. Obviously, like, it's SpongeBob footage. Like, I don't own the footage to SpongeBob. I don't own the rights to SpongeBob. I'm using it as fair use. So, like, it's kind of fair game. What my fiance and editor thinks is happening here is that SpongeTruths, whose editor is aware I exist, by the way, the editor for SpongeTruths wanted me to hire them. And I didn't hire them because they use AI. They're like, they had on their little resume thing they sent me, it said they were like proficient in like Sora 2 or whatever. I'm like, I don't want to hire a person who's just gonna use AI to do the job. Controversial legacy of grandma's kisses. Yeah, the background fish are too mean. Yeah, look, we just saw it.
Is that Squidward is more in character for teasing SpongeBob, but the background fish are completely out of line.
You're impulsive.
Look at that. Same shot.
But their solution was to simply write the scene where the adult background characters.
Yeah, there it is. So that's the.
They're
and
impulsive,
like,
weirdly
you know,
proud of being wrong, and
so I think kind of what it is if I had to guess, I'd say that the editor for SpongeTruths, because it is a human editor. Like it is. You can't make AI edit a video like this. It is not possible. There is no thing that does that yet. Honestly, a program like that, within reason, could be useful as long as it's not like interrupting human intent. I feel like it just would, because that's how AI is. So I think basically what might be happening here is the editor goes into my video. So the way that my videos are cut for the Grandma's Kisses video, my editor just had the footage of the whole episode. And what I did is I nested the footage with the image of the box. So that way the box and the footage were connected, so that if I had to make the footage move in and out, which I have to do sometimes for graphics. So these are connected in my Adobe Premiere and they go above the background. And the reason I do that is because when you make it, first of all, it's 4:3, so it looks weird with like black bars. And also you're less likely to get copyright claimed if you have the footage in like a box rather than taking up the whole screen. In editing this video, my editor had the entire episode of Grandma's Kisses next to the footage of me talking, and she put the video of the episode on top of the dialogue where it fit best, you know, because sometimes it's me talking, sometimes you just have footage of me. What I think SpongeTruths might be doing, and why it's significant that these are so similar, is that by a SpongeTruths editor going into my video has now pre-selected the best footage to use as background footage. So the SpongeTruths editor would go into my video, take the footage of my video, and then crop it into just the square. Again, this is all speculation, but that is quite interesting. Em does a really good job editing the vids. She does. I am so proud of her. Oh yeah, someone was saying in the chat, the SpongeBob in the No SpongeBob Day. This is so AI generated, right? Or it's just like, that's got to be. Look at the eyelashes. One of the eyelashes is off. They're getting more bold with the. Do we remember last week? Do we remember Not a Real Boy? Do we need to find Not a Real Boy? I think we need to get Not a Real Boy. Not a Real Boy. Guys, it's Not a Real Boy. This is from last week. When I went over the Mr. Krabs video, they were talking about ARG, and they had a graphic of a ship with SpongeBob, Patrick, and whoever this is. And people were saying that they were calling it Not a Real Boy. And I think it's because it looks a little bit like that joke at the end of the first SpongeBob movie where King Neptune turns Mr. Krabs into a real boy, because it's like the same eyes and the same face. So like, did the AI mix up Mr. Krabs and the real boy from that one joke? I have a set a real boy ending. Hashtag Not a Real Boy, stop AI. I think it was something like that. So yeah, they're getting more blatant with it, because I had said when I watched the Bizarro Bottom video that they didn't have a lot of AI generated images. They should pick up a pencil. They should. Or they should have lovely fiancés that know how to pick up a pencil, because I don't know how to draw.
However, the more I looked into it, I started to think that
The more I looked into it, I think that's wrong. I want to discuss just that phrase, the more I looked into it. Isn't that so messed? So this was written by AI. I think we all know that. Isn't that messed up? This was written by a computer. No one looked, this person didn't look into it. They didn't, like, when you watch my videos, I have to set aside time to watch all of the episodes that I talk about. Like, that's a part of the process. I'm doing another video like my Krusty Krab video, but with the chum bucket, where it's every time the chum bucket is destroyed. But I have to set aside time to watch all of the episodes where the chum bucket gets destroyed. So if I say in my video where I'm talking about the chum bucket getting destroyed, or what I said in my Krusty Krab video, I probably said it where I said, I watched all of the episodes where the Krusty Krab gets destroyed. I did. I watched it and I thought about these things. That means something. You understand? I want to talk about the idea of the social contract. Okay. Have you ever heard of this concept before? The social contract? It's basically like an idea of between people, we just have general agreements on honesty and integrity and all this stuff. It's called the social contract. The fact that we lock our doors, you know, we lock our doors, or we lock our cars when we go to places. This is because people are willing to violate the social contract. In that regard, it's of property. You know, people will steal from you, so you have to lock up your stuff. It's unfortunate. If everyone on Earth magically started following the social contract, no one would ever have to lock their doors again. Obviously, this is unrealistic, but it would be true. And I think that having an AI thing say, I was looking into it when it's not capable of doing so, I feel like that is also a violation of the social contract. Now, I can blame SpongeTruths for putting it in their video, and I can also blame the people who make AI, because it's designed to do that. I remember there was one time that like was talking about gaming. It was someone I knew personally that I don't want to like call out. I didn't know them very well, but basically I knew someone through like, you know, regular old things back when I lived in California, who did videos on YouTube where they did something where they had an AI like co-host, like they were trying to do a podcast and they had an AI co-host. It was talking about video games, and the real person asked the AI, said, "What have you been playing lately?" Asked it to the AI as if it was like a person that they were having a conversation with. And the AI said, "I've been playing Stardew Valley." And I remember I just felt so sick by like, no, it doesn't. It wasn't playing it. Like when you talk to a person, when a person says to you, "I've been playing Stardew Valley," when a person says to you, "Hey, I have been looking into this. I've been watching these SpongeBob episodes and seeing how cruel these characters are to SpongeBob. I've been doing that." That means something when a person says that to you. It means that they are communicating a perspective about something that they are understanding about the thing that they're watching. And when an AI lies to you and says, "I've been looking at it," it's emulating that. It's what it's trying to do is it's emulating, because okay, so when you say that, so let's say I say something like that, like let's say in my chum bucket video where I talk about every time the chum bucket gets destroyed, let's say I have a line in that video where I say, "So I've been looking into all the times the chum bucket got destroyed." Like if I say that to you, what I am doing in saying that to you is I am emulating as if you were having a conversation with your buddy, with a friend. You know, you're hanging out with someone and they say that. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm communicating to you a perspective in the same way that a friend would. Whereas when it's AI that does it, it's bad that it emulates that. Because not only is it dishonest, but I think it weakens communication in general. So right now, AI is not super widespread. It really isn't. It could get a lot worse. You know, like I know there's a lot of AI videos on YouTube and it's bad and it's a problem, but people like me still do well. You know, people bigger than me still do very well. It could get really bad, which is why we should fight against it. But if this were widespread, of computers saying, "I've been looking into this, I've been thinking," what happens to our perspectives? What happens to the value of an actual human perspective when opinions are no longer mostly people? It's just a pretty scary thought of the idea of because then what do you get? You know, because like AI, the point is, you know, because this came from somewhere, like I've been looking into it. It comes from my videos that talk about the background fish. It comes from that Lydia Loves Timelines person talking about the background fish. These were human beings who actually did think about this, and the AI is just pulling from them. You could argue and be wrong that that's just the human intent because it's just using the general human thought. I don't really see it that way. I think that once it's taking it from somewhere, once it's not filtered through an actual human, it is not necessary. It is a net negative.
He's just the town's favorite excuse.
Wow, that same footage again.
So yeah,
repeated.
There are some instances where people just seem to be mean jerks to SpongeBob.
Why are you using footage of this jellyfish song?
Even a local newspaper made a joke about it. A local nutcase tries to fly. It's laughter
recapping.
Everywhere.
Just recapping.
Given the context,
there's a little bit of black bars on the side. Do we see this? This couldn't have been from my video because I didn't cover this episode. Or I've talked about this episode before, but I didn't cover this part of it. Do we see this? How there's little bits of black on the side of the footage. All right, there's little bits of black on the side of the footage in this shot. And now let's look at this part.
He wants to fly.
Which is from the same episode.
So
there isn't. It's footage from the same episode. It doesn't have it.
They're still jerks to SpongeBob.
Why is it ever so slightly uncropped?
When a guy is being ridiculed-filled dreams, they chase
Look at that.
It
cuts off immediately. Look, it's different size.
You think you're the only one with unfulfilled dreams? Then they chase.
And then it cuts to it, and it's different footage. Are we seeing this? It's very small. It's really minor. Like, you got to really look at it. On the side of the footage in this shot, there's little pieces of black, meaning that it wasn't cropped correctly. But this has, okay, look, we can see it really clearly here. Look, see, this one's cropped in more and this one's cropped out. So if we're going by let's say we're gathering evidence for the idea that SpongeTruths' editor is taking footage from other videos to basically speed up their process. Instead of having the whole Sponge Who Could Fly episode and going through it and finding specific footage, you go through another person's video where they talked about this episode. If that, like, Lydia Loves Timelines video talked about the Sponge Who Could Fly, which it probably did. It's the background fish at their worst. I've never seen the video, so maybe it didn't. But like, maybe that video had this part and they just went through, and the reason that they took it from her video rather than taking it from the episode is that a YouTuber has already pre-selected the best footage, so it speeds up their process. But the cost is that your footage is going to be inconsistent. You're going to get it over here, you're going to get it over there. Very interesting, and just kind of an indication of, and also I do think that's bad in a couple of ways. I don't think it's like illegal, because it's all fair use. It's all SpongeBob. You know, we don't own SpongeBob. I don't own the rights to SpongeBob. I use SpongeBob as commentary on the episodes. That is, when I use footage, it's commentary. It's the same here. That's just kind of how it works. So the reason that that's bad is not because it's illegal, but because it stifles innovation. Let's say you have 20 different YouTubers, 20 different SpongeBob YouTubers. Every single one of us made a video that was basically the same video. It was a review of the Sponge Who Could Fly. None of us stole from each other's videos. We all made these videos independently. We didn't make them, we didn't have any input with each other. All of us would have had to go through the footage of the entire episode and choose different shots from it. Now, some of us would probably pick the same shots. I feel like there's only so many shots in the episode. So this progresses innovation. We do different things. We choose different pieces of footage. We do different things with the footage. And that does matter for a better creative landscape. If SpongeTruths really is going and actually just stealing edits from people, which isn't even an AI thing, by the way, you would have to do that manually, then that is bad because it just stifles creativity throughout the entire media landscape. Everyone's over there using the same edits and using AI to steal from each other. Where's the place for originality?
Like, is that the reason you're mad? Because someone is actually chasing his dream while you're already giving up?
Okay, that is not a criticism of the episode. Do we see this? Look.
Then they chase him with a pitchfork and torch.
Then they chase him with a pitchfork and torch, singular. I think it's torches and pitchforks.
Like, is that the reason you're mad? Because someone is actually chasing his dream while you're already giving up?
Bro, that's the point of the story. That's not a criticism. Yes, SpongeBob is supposed to be right. That's what the narrative is saying. Why are you criticizing the background fish for doing what the narrative said that they... And you can do that, by the way. Like, I just did a whole video on Mr. Krabs, does he deserve to have the Krusty Krab destroyed? But I didn't say it in the sense that the episode was flawed. You know, imagine I'm reviewing the episode Squid on Strike, and I'm like, Mr. Krabs, you charge Squidward for breathing? Isn't that... Like, that's the point. It's the point of the episode, is that the background fish are wrong.
I'm a failure, so no one should be able to succeed. What a crab mentality.
What a crap mentality, or crab mentality, or whatever you just said. Yeah, that's the point. So you like the episode? That's the point of the episode. It's the point of the story. Me when the villains are villainous.
I can't think of any reason to make fun of anyone for loving his elderly grandmother. I mean...
Wait a minute.
I can't think of any reason to make fun of anyone for loving his elderly...
Look at that cut. Look at how sloppy. Look at how sloppy this is. So it's this frame, and then it cuts to SpongeBob for like a half a second, and then it cuts to this frame. That is such sloppy. I'm glad I didn't hire their editor, because obviously they're terrible. Like, what, I'm going to pay an editor to do that? So basically what happened was when you have like footage of a show, sometimes when you cut the footage together beyond you talking, it'll get like half a second of the next shot before it goes into the next thing. And it's your job as the editor to get rid of that because it looks terrible. You don't want it to be when someone's watching it, they see like half a second of one shot. Now, if it was like 2 seconds of that other shot, that would be fine pacing wise. But it should never look like this. This is very sloppy editing.
I can't think of any reason to make fun of anyone for loving his
Cut
elderly
for a second.
grandma.
That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. If I hired this editor and they wanted to work for me, I'd be like, fix it. Like, fix it, dude. Like, what am I paying you for? I would not hire them again. Watch this. Watch this. This is a great example of what my editor does.
Is more in character for teasing SpongeBob, but the background fish are completely out of line, joining in to bully who to them is just...
So that shot isn't actually that long. So what my editor did,
SpongeBob, but the background fish are completely out,
is she found like she went by frame, like she zoomed in and looked at the frames and found the optimal frame to loop this video of Squidward and the background fish laughing to sell that point.
Of line, joining in to bully who to them is...
So she basically extended that part of them laughing because she has a animation experience. So she's really good at that.
She gave her grandson a bright pink lipstick kiss mark on the forehead. They keep making fun of him acting like a baby. What's even crazier, they go so far as to follow SpongeBob to his grandmother's house.
So this is what I said. So I made the same criticism, but let's see what SpongeTruths is missing. So the general structure of this video was Grandma's Kisses is a season 2 episode, but it's kind of disliked. It's not a particularly popular season 2 episode. It's considered flawed. So I went through the 3 main criticisms of it and I talked about why they were criticisms. So very similar to what we just saw with SpongeTruths is I'm about to talk about the background fish, and SpongeTruths was saying, you know, how the background fish, they were jerks, they were this or that, they're that. But watch in mine how...
Criticism 1. The background fish are too mean. The role of the background fish in the story revolves around bullying SpongeBob because he has a kiss mark on his forehead from his grandma.
Okay, so see how I started it, my framing. The role of the background fish in the story. So already I am putting us in the position of the audience. I am putting us in a position that is outside of the universe of the story, which is where we should be. We don't exist within the universe. A story is about teaching a lesson. That's the point of a story, is using characters to teach a lesson. That's the entire point of a story. That's why they exist. When you start saying, oh, they're so mean, blah, 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 it doesn't really do much. So I start by framing it like that.
Squidward kind of spearheads this bullying, but I think the consensus is that Squidward is more in character for teasing SpongeBob, but the background fish are completely out of line, joining in to bully who, to them, is just some minimum wage worker.
Okay, so so that sentence is similar to the like SpongeTruths point, is like, why are they bullying SpongeBob? Oh, they're being so mean to SpongeBob. So because I framed the point as the role of the background fish is to bully SpongeBob, now when I say
joining in to bully who, to them, is just some minimum wage worker.
So what I'm talking about there is not me saying, oh, they're such jerks, that makes it a bad episode. I'm saying that to the audience's perspective, it doesn't make sense that the background fish are bullying him. The criticism is not that the background fish are mean. A character can be mean in a narrative. Like, that's the point. Like what we were saying earlier about the sponge who could fly. Them being mean is the point. What I'm saying here is that it doesn't make sense to the viewer that these characters would bully and I say a minimum wage worker, to like kind of be a little cheeky, make a little bit of a joke on it, is like kind of point out how silly that must be to the audience.
SpongeBob later refers to them as
the guys down at the Krusty Krab.
Almost like they're a group of friends or something and not, you know, just customers, which I guess adds a little more of a personal relationship. It implies to me that these people are Krusty Krab regulars who see SpongeBob all the time and have a bit more of a rapport with him, which...
Oh, I even defend it. Like I even say how it can make sense. This video was a while ago. I think I'm just now realizing this. AI writing, I don't think can really understand nuance.
It's almost as if they're outright bullying SpongeBob at this point.
It's almost as if no, they are. The scene is about bullying. What do you mean it's almost as if? The AI it doesn't really understand nuance. A lot of things about a lot of my videos is that because art is subjective, I really work with the idea of nuance, the idea of what is your perspective? What are you thinking about when you are watching something? What are the different perspectives? How does it inform us? Okay, so this is something that SpongeTruths completely did not do. At least it didn't steal from me. But basically, I explain, because I'm criticizing the behavior of the background fish, I'm saying from a writing perspective why the background fish are so cruel. It's because in SpongeBob is an adult. He doesn't go to school. In a regular kid show,
And having his main setting be a workplace and
yeah, in a regular kid show like Fairly Odd Parents, Timmy Turner goes to school. So if you have a plot where Timmy Turner gets bullied, he's just going to get bullied by the other kids at school, and it's going to make sense because they're all kids. But SpongeBob doesn't have that. It has boating school. I addressed that it has boating school. But SpongeBob is an adult. So when you have a story that is about, you should watch this video. It's a very interesting video.
boating school as a setting only
Yeah,
exists
see.
as a compromise with the execs who were afraid of breaking that established norm. While most
Yeah, see, I bring up that known fact about SpongeBob too. So I'm approaching it from so many different ways. Like, see how different this is in less time, by the way. This is 1 minute. This is 1 minute of me talking. It's about 1 minute. Yeah, it's a little less. It's around the same amount of time of talking. SpongeTruths is a little less. And in mine, I set up all of the framing of how you see it as the audience. I set up the reason it's written that way, why this is a different show. I set up the two different perspectives. I say, oh, it doesn't make sense because he's a minimum wage worker, but also they do some work to make it personal. There's just so much more that I do in the same amount of time because all SpongeTruths is doing is describing what happens. Oh, they're reusing the same. They used this earlier, and it didn't make as much sense earlier to use it.
SpongeBob Day, just to avoid SpongeBob for a full day, or a few weeks actually, because according to Patrick,
everybody needs
I don't know, just describing the episode.
SpongeBob, and burned it to the
Wait, this is wait, hold on. I think this is more fuel on the fire. So this is really clunky editing.
But
I would
then,
never edit
as Mr.
like this.
Krabs explained it, they built a giant wooden effigy of SpongeBob and burned.
So he's saying they built a giant wooden effigy of SpongeBob and then they burned it. But as he said, so if I edited this, when I said they built a giant wooden effigy of him, I would show the actual shot. Why are you talking about the wooden
Krabs
effigy
explained it. They built a giant wooden
while he's knocking on Patrick's rock like 7 minutes earlier in the episode?
effigy of SpongeBob and burned it to the ground.
And then they bring in an image. So perhaps they couldn't find another YouTuber who talked about this episode who showed footage of the burning. Like maybe someone else talked about it and they just didn't talk about that detail. I would get that because like if I covered this episode, I don't know if I'd even talk about that detail. I don't even know because it's a joke, like they burned the wooden effigy of SpongeBob. It's just a part of the joke. Like, I don't think I would really describe that part. So it's likely that another YouTuber who talked about this episode probably talked about Gone from the sake of it being like a psychological episode, it being like how SpongeBob, goes crazy and he deals with it. So maybe they just didn't have that footage, and instead of getting footage of the actual episode,
They built a giant wooden effigy of SpongeBob and burned it to the...
They just got an image and put it in. Oh, and they have footage of the dancing? Wait, why did they not have footage of the effigy? That's so weird.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were trying to curse...
You know what it is? I bet that the video that they took it from didn't have video of the burning.
On top of the ashes,
But
like
it did have video of the dancing. Because if I were talking about it and I said, yeah, they were celebrating No SpongeBob Day, I probably would use this shot of them dancing, but I probably wouldn't use the burning of the effigy.
No tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if they were trying to curse SpongeBob while they were at it.
What? Why? That is what? First of all, why are you speculating on what they would or would not have done. The narrative just tells you what they did. Why would they keep that like subtextual? They wanted to curse SpongeBob? What the heck? This video is 4 minutes and 25 seconds in. It has recapped 3 episodes where other characters were mean to SpongeBob and criticized only that the characters were jerks, which is the point of all 3 of those episodes. You may be able to criticize the Grandma's Kisses one. It didn't. It didn't talk about the actual criticisms of the Grandma's Kisses background fish behavior, which there are real criticisms of it. I addressed them in my video. And there also are real criticisms of Gone too. The way they act in Gone actually might be worse than Grandma's Kisses because it's very mean-spirited in Gone. You need to say why narratively it doesn't communicate the message very well.
And he basically ends.
Why is this 16:9? Why is the aspect ratio... Are we seeing this? Why is the aspect ratio a rectangle for what? Oh, you know what? So this is from Graveyard Shift. Graveyard Shift is from season 2? Season 3? Season 2 or 3. Graveyard Shift is a classic episode, which means it was 4-3. It's not, so it's a rectangle. So, you know, back before like 2010-ish to 2012-ish, TVs were squares, and now TVs are rectangles. So when SpongeBob aired on TV back in the early 2000s, all of the episodes were squares, including Graveyard Shift. So if you watch my videos and I talk about something like Graveyard Shift, it's going to be in a square box. But if I talk about a modern episode, Graveyard Shift is season 2, thank you. If I talk about a modern episode, like say Squid Ferratu, I'm going to have a rectangle. And I work that into the editing. This is a 4:3. It's called 4:3 aspect ratio, but this is a 16:9 aspect ratio for what is a 4:3 aspect ratio episode. Now, why is that? Why would that be the case? Well, I think I have an answer. If SpongeBob wasn't SpongeBob SquarePants official, if Graveyard Shift was an anime, what? That's not what I'm talking about. So the official SpongeBob YouTube channel, they expand the 4:3 episodes. Sometimes they do in this video. So this is from the official SpongeBob SquarePants, the hash slinging slasher full scene SpongeBob. You know, it's just the copyright holders. They're putting clips from the show on YouTube to promote it and all that sort of stuff. It's very common stuff with shows like this. It's the same shot. Look, are we seeing this? It's the same. That's where they took it from. They took it from and we saw this last week with the Mr. Krabs video. Guys, we're learning a bit about SpongeTruths today. SpongeTruths steals edits too. That's so nuts. Yeah, so look, employee of the month. And also look, 16:9. 16:9 employee of the month. Watch. It's the same color. It's the same color. There it is. We found it. Wait a minute. It's even worse. So look, there it is. There's the shot. Employee of the month. It's actually, look at this. It's their transition too. It's the same transition. How lazy can you be? Look, it's exactly from there. It's blurred out for some reason on SpongeTruths. And then look, it's literally the same transition. So SpongeTruths takes the edits too. What the barnacles? And it also makes it inconsistent. Like why is this a square? This is not a 16:9 episode. If you look at my videos, when I cover an episode from the 4:3 era of SpongeBob, when it was 4:3 aspect ratio, all of the footage is going to be in the box, is going to be in the square. All of the footage from the HD era and onward is going to be in a rectangle. It's just weird how you're discussing a season 2 episode here and it's a rectangle and back here it's a square. It's just inconsistent. I've said it before, but I just love how honest you are about your video making process. Thank you. I really like doing behind the scenes stuff. I really like people knowing my process. Dude.
And he basically
it's
ends
so
every
blatant.
kind of conversation with a lie.
Look at this. SpongeBob laughing for 10 minutes. Have you no integrity? With just popping up in there, SpongeBob laughing for 10 minutes.
So many cases of SpongeBob destroying Bikini Bottom.
Why is this the footage? So many cases of SpongeBob destroying Bikini Bottom. And it's him with his teeth on his own house. I'm sorry, a man can't bite his own house? Why is this the footage used? I mean, I know why. It's because they're lazy with getting the footage.
Because of just stupid stuff.
That is not SpongeBob's fault. That's Squidward's fault. They used dying for pie as an example of SpongeBob destroying Bikini Bottom. That is 100% Squidward's fault. Maybe like 90%, because I guess SpongeBob knew it was a bomb. It's like Squidward said that it was a bomb, but SpongeBob clearly didn't understand that it was a bomb. Because he said, I kept the pie for us to share, let's eat. No way SpongeBob fully understood that it was a bomb.
Rocket,
just saying.
he causes
Oh, look, they're back to, look at this. They're back to regular aspect
Once
ratio.
he shrinks every...
Look, this is the 16:9 aspect ratio. Again, this is Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 3, so this should be a square. This should not be a rectangle. But they took it from the official SpongeBob that recrops them into being rectangles. What does this have to do with the Bikini Bottomites? Beats me. Actually, it's not that incoherent. It's saying that SpongeBob deserves it because SpongeBob's destroyed Bikini Bottom, so it's saying why they hate him. AI is at least able to know that, but it can't give actual commentary.
Once he shrinks everyone and puts them in...
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this editing flub.
Once he shrinks
Look at this.
everyone and...
For like I can't even pause it on the right side. For like a millisecond, it takes up the full screen. Why? How does that even happen? Is that to keep your eyes focused on the video? No, it's just poor
Puts them
editing.
in a glass jar. He wrapped...
Basically, so here's what actually happened. I think I can
Once
figure out
he
what happened with
shrinks
this.
everyone-
I think what it is that when you plug in the footage is by default full screen. So the editor must have cut like a little bit off of the end for some reason or another before they resized it. So there was just a little bit of it being the wrong size. By the way, you could probably go through my videos and find a handful of mistakes like that. It happens. Change the speed to the slowest to catch the movement. Ooh, what would I do without you? What would I do without you, chat? Oh my goodness. We should just watch the whole thing like this. No, we won't. Okay, yeah, we can catch it. Wow, you're so smart. Oh, thank you, chat.
Everyone...
Oh, I still have to catch it. It's so fast.
Shrinks everyone...
You can use the period and comma to go frame by frame. Are you serious? Oh, yeah. Wow. We got some computer geniuses in my chat here. So look, see? Okay, so look, frame by frame, yeah. It's 2 frames. So it's just 2 frames of it being full screen. So it must have just not had... This must have been the default size, and then it was resized. So like, if you go into my videos... You can find stuff like this. Like if you look at my SpongeBob movie video, when I do chapter 2, it says chapter 1 and I say chapter 2. There's probably a couple times you could find where the thing is off. Oh, even in my Krusty Krab video, there's a part where the graphic that's supposed to come in and it comes in on the wrong spot. These things happen. Mistakes do get made when you edit videos. But the reason that I harp on some of these mistakes is that when you see a mistake in my video, because you know me, because you know that I'm someone with integrity, you know that it's just an honest mistake. But when I look at SpongeTruths that blasts out 3 videos a week, that uses AI, that takes from the SpongeBob official, that takes from probably other YouTubers, possibly even mine, the footage they edited, it just comes off as you're lazy. You don't care about your audience. When I sit and make videos for you guys, I'm thinking about you guys. I'm thinking about how am I going to provide something good for my audience? How am I going to make my audience happy? I care about those things. I care about the people who are watching my videos. That's why I make videos. Why even do this? If you're SpongeTruths, why do this? Why not just get any other job? You know, why are you doing this? And there's a couple of different answers for that. You know, perhaps SpongeTruths doesn't live in a first world country. This person could be in like a bad situation and like they're like resorting to like this. It's like a scammer, you know, like the scammers. It's not right. Doesn't make it right. You know, why do this? Why do this, SpongeTruths? All you're doing is taking away from people who do care. And that's why I really can't stand things like SpongeTruths. Every view of this video is someone who's not watching my video or not watching Ave, not watching a human creator. Doesn't matter if they're watching my video. I am okay with competing with human creators. If I compete with a human creator and the human creator, another human creator creates a better product than me and gets more views, then they deserve it. They deserve more views than me. That's fine. But with this, when this takes views away from me, just because they're able to pump out more because they cut corners like this and they steal like either through AI or just literally with the edits, these are, I don't think, valid ways of taking views from other people. It's bad for the media landscape. Whereas another channel, a human run channel doing better than me and getting more views than me because they did a better video is good for the media landscape because now I have to compete with that other channel. It makes my content better. It makes their content better. This only makes content worse. It makes content worse because it's now a race to the bottom.
Then put some
I forgot what we said. I got to put it back normal speed. Maybe like 125. I'm doing 1.25 speed.
Manages to blow up the whole town a few times.
Even manages to blow up the whole town a few times, shows dying for pie when it's not his fault.
So, okay, if you only look at these examples, you could land.
Look, they're all in the wrong aspect ratio too.
Even
like it's so clunky.
Rocket, he causes traffic terror.
Like watch this. So this is so clunky. Look,
as a maniac,
we have that, and then
even manages to.
And then now it's 16:9. Like that was 4:3 cuts into 16:9. And by the way, this is a 4:3 episode, so they should both be the same size. But watch what I do when I have something similar happen. So at the end of my Grandma's Kisses video, I talked about Squid Baby, and I compared it to Grandma's Kisses.
Similarities to Grandma's Kisses in the sense that both stories revolve around themes of maturity and address the concept of acting childish. But while Grandma...
So see what I just did there? Squid Baby is from the HD era, and I'm comparing Squid Baby to Grandma's Kisses.
Both stories revolve around themes of maturity and address the concept of acting childish. But while Grandma's...
So when I switch the aspect ratio, I like to have the larger footage, the 16:9, I like to have it swipe out of the video because it just is better for your eyes. If it suddenly cuts into this size, I don't think it looks as good. I mean, that would be fine. Like it's okay, but it's so easy for me to do that. It literally, I just cut the tail end of this footage and I copy paste it. It takes me like 10 seconds. For each time I have to
stories revolve around themes of maturity and address the concept of acting childish. But while
like it's so easy to do this. But the difference is there's two major differences. So this is talking about two different episodes from different eras of the show. So the fact that there's an edit that makes the 16:9 move out and show the 4:3 also helps sell that I'm comparing two different eras of the show, as opposed to SpongeTruths, where the reason that this is a rectangle and that this is a square is just because they're lazy in their footage gathering. They just get footage from a bunch of different sources, which is other YouTube videos that make it speed up their process at the cost of you, the viewer. It would be weird if they edited it where this rectangle flew in over the square because this isn't supposed to be a rectangle episode. You'd be calling attention to the fact that this is a rectangle, which they don't want to call attention to that because that's just their footage being sourced from a bunch of random different places. Whereas I want to call attention to the fact that I'm using different aspect ratios because I'm calling attention to the fact that I'm covering two different eras. And in a lot of ways, SpongeTruths has a lot more fancy edits than mine.
But here's where it gets interesting.
They keep reusing the dying for pie footage. They said SpongeBob destroys Bikini Bottom a few times, but you only show dying for pie, which wasn't his fault. What are the other times SpongeBob destroys Bikini Bottom? Are there other examples? Could you count Sandy, SpongeBob, and the Worm? Could you count, is there any like boating school ones where he destroys the town? Wormy? What about Wormy? There's an example right there. SpongeBob absolutely, and Patrick, but SpongeBob and Patrick are equally responsible. They destroy the town in Wormy. Why not use that as an example? Oh, because your AI didn't tell you because you don't know anything about the show. So you wouldn't be able to I thought about that for 5 seconds. I'm like, what is an episode where SpongeBob destroys the town? Oh, Wormy. I came up with one. But the AI didn't come up with Wormy, so they don't say Wormy.
So, okay, if you own a problem. But here's where you realize SpongeBob is not the only one catching all the bullets.
What? Wait, what? Whoa, what?
You realize SpongeBob is not the only one catching all the bullets. Because, surprise, Bikini Bottom doesn't reserve this energy for SpongeBob. They do it to everyone.
Wait, they do it to... Oh my goodness. So the person who was talking before was right. The person who said before, why have this whole... Look, for 2 minutes... How long? No, gone? Okay, it's a minute. So they talked for 1 minute about SpongeBob being deserving of the background fish treating him badly because he blew up the town and dying for pie. And he bit his own house and dumped. Stuff where with Sandy's rocket and like just saying all these examples saying SpongeBob deserves it because he did all this stuff. But then he says they treat everyone like that. So why did you go on for a minute about all of the things that SpongeBob did? Is it because the AI just arbitrarily decided to talk about it and now they're not talking about it?
About Squidward as a talented artist.
What is this image? This looks like fan art. Where did this image of Squidward come from? It doesn't look like AI. It's like weirdly shaded. Like it looks like it's from a broader piece of fan art that has like shading on Squidward. I don't like to use fan art in my videos. It's not like the worst thing in the world to do. I forgot to mention that the SpongeTruths voice has changed many times as pointed out by Ave. That is true. Yeah, that is kind of the... There's other evidence that it's an AI voice. One that I've heard this AI voice. Found it? All right, people are finding it. Apparently it's stolen fan art. Yeah, I don't like to use fan art in my videos. Now, obviously, like YouTube videos are about commentary. They're about fair use. People found, okay, M the channel mods found it. Email it to me. I'm going to pull it up. I don't like to use fan art in my videos, except when it's fan art that is done by M the channel mod, my fiance, because I explicitly commission her to make fan art. So I talk about how Band Geeks is like the Mona Lisa. This was done by my fiance. This is my video. I commissioned this for this video by also the same person who edits the video. So I use fan art when it's made by the people. I don't like to use other people's fan art. If I use someone's fan art, I would probably just go out of my way to send people to their page. I feel like that's the right thing to do. Band Geeks is not like the Mona Lisa. Oh, you're the guy who doesn't like Band Geeks. I know. We're not talking about Band Geeks right now. We talked about it last week. It's really good fan art. Thank you. Look, here it is. Oh, you know what they so did? They used remove background. Look, he doesn't have the hat. They put into Photoshop. You could go into Photoshop. You can click a thing that says remove background. And it's not AI because it's not generative AI. You might call it AI, but it's not generative AI. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I do it. It's fine. It's just the Photoshop identifying what's a background and what isn't and deleting the background. So this is fan art. Here's the original fan art by who did it? Oh, we should shout out the artist. Do we have a credit for the artist? Do we have any credit for the art? Join this channel to get access to perks. Yep, gotta try and... Okay, so you're trying to get people to give you money, SpongeTruths. But are you crediting the artist that you used? Copyright disclaimer under Section 107. Such cringe. You don't need to put that. Nope, nothing. Honestly, AI tell, by the way. Honestly. 40,000 views, by the way. 40,000 views, none of which get to find the credit for this artist that you just took. You just took it. So the reason that I don't like to use fan art in my videos, but I do use like SpongeBob the Show, is because SpongeBob the Show is, first of all, it's the thing I'm criticizing. And SpongeBob the Show is on another level. It's, it's just different morally because SpongeBob is a big show. It's a big company and all that. And I'm commenting on it. But if I take someone's fan art and I put it in my video to help sell my message, and I don't even credit them, that's stinky. Did you ban me from your channel? No, I didn't ban you from my channel. I wouldn't ban you just because you don't like Band Geeks. I talked about your comment last week. Do you see the comment responses video of Band Geeks? I allow freedom of opinion on SpongeBob episodes here. Half of your comments aren't going through. Oh, I don't know why that is. No, I did not ban you. The artist's name is Xavier. Is that Squidward AI? I don't think so. I highly doubt it. It looks like fan art to me. You can never trust anything in this world, unfortunately, but I don't think it is. I'm going to say I don't think it is. If I'm wrong and you're clowning on me, it doesn't have any tells that it is. It looks like an artist made it. Yes, by Xavier. I'm seeing Xavier is the actual artist of this. When I make this a segment, I'm gonna link to the fan art. So if you're watching this on Jackson Finelli Podcast, go in the description and Xavier, I'm gonna credit your art. I think it's not AI. If it is, then I'm duped. But I really doubt it is. It really does not look like it. What do you think about using AI as an inspiration? I do not mean literally taking the AI, but rather using the concept to make, for example, an AI abomination. Don't What? Using AI as an inspiration? Whatever you're saying, don't do it. I don't think it's a good idea. Anything that's AI, like if you get like something from, like if you like ask like ChatGPT, hey, give me an idea for a YouTube video, but then you write the video, it's not going to give you a good answer. Your brain is a better source. Trust me, your brain is a better source. Your brain will always be a better source. It's your perspective. All it's going to do is give you an amalgamation of other perspectives. I wouldn't trust it.
Like in Squidward, people cheer every time.
You know what else is kind of a problem with this video? It's trying to tie in episodes that aren't related to each other. So it's saying like, oh, the background fish hates SpongeBob because he blew up the town and dying for pie. Like, no, they don't. Those things have nothing to do with each other. SpongeBob blowing up the town and dying for pie, it's not like in a later episode in like The Sponge Who Could Fly when the background fish are being mean to him. They're mean to him because he blew up the town and dying for pie. They're being mean to him because of the reasons that are stated within the episode. They're not making every episode connected to others. That's not how cartoons work. Or that's not how this cartoon works. Some cartoons are like that, but this is an episodic show. You can't argue that they're treating SpongeBob badly because of this, or oh, it's inconsistent that they're friends with Squidward here in Grandma's Kisses, but they're mean to him in Squidward.
Squidward is a replica of Squidward, but the real one is less entertaining to you.
Wait, hold on a second. This is funny.
Squidward is a replica of Squidward, but the real one is less entertaining to you. I genuinely think they might just be rage baiting Squidward in that.
Wait, hold on. The projection. Are we seeing this in the AI SpongeTruths? Are you serious?
Squidward is a replica of Squidward, but the real one is less entertaining to you.
Squidward is the replica, but Squidward is the less entertaining one. Dude, you're Squidward. You're Squidward. I'm the real one. I don't think you want to make this argument, dude. When even AI is anti-AI. You know what's so funny? Because AI it steals. It just takes general human opinions. AI just takes general human opinions. And this is something I'm actually thinking about doing a video about more in depth. I think that if you look at a lot of like lessons of movies and TV shows, I think that human beings, in terms of our principles, you can see a lot from movies and TV shows, the way that we feel like we should treat each other, morality. A lot of human principles are clear through what our popular movies and TV shows and narratives talk about. Like you can tell that it's, for example, something really obvious, that it's wrong to steal from someone, because a TV show will punish someone who steals. And you'll notice, and you'll see this in a lot of SpongeBob episodes, where you can look at old SpongeBob episodes that were made decades before AI came out. You know, if you look at Selling Out, and it's like synthetic patties. Krabby Patties are made with love, not a machine. You know, if you look at Neptune's spatula, you know, SpongeBob puts in care to the one Krabby Patty. King Neptune makes 1 million of them in one fell swoop, but SpongeBob's is better because he put care into it. These are anti-AI statements if applied to the principle of AI. There could be people who look at those episodes and be like, yeah, SpongeBob is so right. But then like they use AI to like write, you know, their paper and be like, oh, well, like I'm different because this, that, and the other thing. And they make all these like, you know, people do mental gymnastics for stuff when they break their actual moral codes, especially when it benefits them. But the point is that what is out there, the general opinion, is that people like authentic things. So the AI went and it found a bunch of opinions, and it literally came out with the average human opinion is that humans like authentic things. That is what AI came to the conclusion of. AI made an anti-AI statement here. It can't be programmed, or maybe it can be. Like maybe they'll start doing that. They'll like program it to like, they program it for self-preservation. That's so funny.
Genuinely think they might just be rage baiting Squidward in that episode. Like,
yeah, I think everyone's rage baiting me that you get views, that you'll get more views than I do. Like it's got 40K views, you know, like, I mean, I've gotten some videos that are, you know, I've gotten some pretty well performing videos, but like, I feel like that. Although I think that you're botting your views. I think that SpongeTruths has to be botting its views somehow.
Like, they just want to see him spiraling out of control for no reason. Now, you could argue...
Okay, that is not... Wow, good frame. That is not the point of the episode, though. They're not... The point of the episode is that the Squidward, the puppet, is more entertaining than Squidward himself. Because it's a puppet and it's being controlled by SpongeBob. It's actually an indication, like, I don't think Squidward, I haven't seen it in a while, but Squidward isn't really like an anti-AI thing, like in the way that obviously it was made before AI, but in the way that like Neptune Spatula are selling out, you could take anti-AI. The point of Squidward is that SpongeBob is controlling it and SpongeBob is the one who is likable, I think. I haven't seen this episode in a long time, but I think isn't that the point of Squidward? Is that SpongeBob controls it and it's more well-liked because SpongeBob is controlling it. Similar to the end of... Oh, what's that episode called where they put out the hand with the talent show? What is that episode called? Season 1 episode. There's one like that.
Okay, that's Squidward. He's a grumpy old cashier, sure. But they also did it to Sandy over a stupid...
Look, different sizes. See this?
Okay,
Look.
that's Squidward. He's a grumpy old cashier, sure. But they also...
Do we see this? Look. These are both 4x3 episodes. 4-3 episodes. These are both 4-3 episodes, but they're different. They're size different. Why is this one smaller and this one's bigger? They both should be the same size. Is it because this is from a different YouTuber's channel and this is from another YouTuber's channel and they just didn't come out as the same size? Culture shock, culture shock. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Actually, I think Squidward would be AI in the metaphor. SpongeBob is being entertaining with a puppet and Squidward does what the puppet does in response. Oh, that's funny. If you look at Squidward's actually the one who's being AI. Yeah, so it's just different. It's just weirdly, like mine aren't inconsistent. You will never find something like this in my videos where one square, I go out of my way to size everything to the square. So I have a square that I went through by the pixel and I found a square that is perfectly symmetrical within the frame. And I put the footage within that square and I'll crop it as needed. The square is always the same size. So it stays consistent. So I don't have this happen.
But they also did it to Sandy over a stupid joke from a stand-up night. The iconic squirrel joke.
They also...
Sure. But they also did it to Sandy over a stupid joke from a stand-up night. The iconic squirrel jokes episode.
So they're just saying times. So what they did, here's the structure of this. They talked for a minute about how SpongeBob deserves to get bullied by the background fish, then said none of that matters because they bully Squidward too. Had a thing about Squidward, now they're talking about squirrel jokes.
Like, how can you not understand it's just a joke, but still decide to pick on her because it's just a fun thing to do? Not to mention, they also made fun of
What is this take about squirrel jokes? Because that's the point of the episode, is that the joke is indicative of real racism. SpongeBob, that's the point.
How can you not understand it's just a joke? Or is it quite the opposite?
How can you not understand it's just a joke? Dude, that's the point. That's the point of the episode, is that SpongeBob made a joke about squirrels and other people took it seriously. It's about how racist jokes make people be racist. That's the point of the episode.
They know it's a joke, but still decide to pick on her because it's just a fun thing to do. Not to mention...
What is that? They decide to pick on her because it's a fun thing to do? No, it's about racism, bro. Like that's the point. Because it's a fun thing to do.
They also made fun of SpongeBob for bombing on the stage earlier in the episode.
What smells rotten and puts people to sleep?
Noxious gas?
But you know what? It's a stand-up night. It's just how it is sometimes. And...
Wait, that's fine? Heckling someone is okay? Wait, heckling someone is okay? I think that's pretty rude.
But still, calling Sandy dumb squirrel outside of the show is bad. And racist to some extent.
And hey, he did talk about racism, but he didn't use the cop. That was so disingenuous. They used the cop to say they were racist. They did address the racism, but not with the cop. Let's see if they actually address it with the cop. Oh, brother, SpongeTruths stinks.
They didn't even have any problem throwing hands with Old Man Jenkins out of some poor misunderstanding.
That's not Old Man Jenkins. It's not learn your characters, dude. That's not even one of the fish that might be Old Man Jenkins. And there's like a couple that have been called Old Man Jenkins. That fish has never been called Old Man Jenkins.
Understanding. Twice.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Wait, this is them being nice though. This is not them being evil.
I love the young people.
My point is,
To be fair, I used that frame in Bizarro Bottom. I used a frame from this scene to talk about the background fish being unhinged, but I was just using it as a frame. I used a different example. But this is actually not an example of the background fish being jerks. In fact, they're being nice here because they think that the old man is going to bully SpongeBob. They think that the old man is a bully. It's a misunderstanding.
they just love being mean to each other. Whether it's SpongeBob, Squidward, Sandy, Plankton,
Why was that your...
they just love
Look
being
at the
mean to each other.
choices
Whether it's
here.
SpongeBob,
Whether it's SpongeBob, but it's a frame where Squidward is more centered.
Squidward,
Look at that choice. Look at that choice of Squidward. You couldn't find any other frame of Squidward. You needed this weird out of context frame of him getting headlocked by Bubble Bass. What the heck is this? Why don't you just put an image of the character?
as long as it satisfies their ego, they don't think twice. Or maybe it's some weird kind of love language.
Okay, this is not making an argument. Like they're saying like they don't care, but they're not a unit. So, okay, so here's the thing about the background fish. The background fish are they're just that. They're just people. You're just taking times where people in the show were mean and acting like it's consistent. Like when I talk about the importance of the background fish, this was my very first video on this channel, the importance of the background fish in SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh my God, my hair. Wow.
There is no one reason.
Excuse the quality. Oh my goodness.
Number one, the mob.
So the way I set up this video is I go through 3, I think, different ways that the background fish are used. Number 1, I said, is the mob.
The first episode of SpongeBob didn't include the background fish as we know them today. However, the conflict of the first episode revolves around a mob of anchovies.
So framing already. So I'm framing that my long hair. So I'm framing that the background fish are used as a mob narratively. And now I have set up that the background fish are a unit, but I also talk about how they're used in specific episodes. I'm not saying that there's some weird force that makes these citizens of Bikini Bottom like cursed or evil or whatever.
In the first episode, satisfying the anchovies with their Krabby Patties is what allows our protagonist to prove
Man, I tried to be such an announcer back then. I talk so much more conversationally now.
himself and achieve his want, the job at the Krusty Krab. The anchovies are also used to give comeuppance to Squidward and Krabs. They are attacked by the anchovies, fearing for their lives, and we as the audience can get a little bit of satisfaction from that since they were so rude to SpongeBob earlier in the episode. Other episodes that use background fish as the mob include Patty Hype, where the mob's extreme
Oh, I didn't know I talked about Patty Hype in this.
love or extreme hate of the pretty patties motivates the character's actions and the results of the story. The final conflict in
Yeah, like see how much stronger that is? Like saying the background fish, whether or not they like or dislike the pretty patties, is the result of the story. Doesn't that mean so much more than just saying they're mean, they did this? Like, and that's not that much more. AI can't do this. AI cannot write this sentence. This little description of pretty patties, AI could never do this. Ask AI to describe pretty patties, and it would just say that the background fish are mean. It would just say that. It would not be that precise. It just would not get it. It would just not write what I just said. Yeah, basically my whole argument about the background fish here is just that they are used in the story as the public opinion. If there's an episode of the show that is about public opinion of something, like right here I use Jellyfish Hunter, the public opinion of the jelly patties is important to this episode. The point of this is that the opinion of the background fish, especially through Fred singing the song, is what motivates Mr. Krabs to be the villain of the episode, because he's trying to appease the background fish. Them being the mob, their mob mentality, is what matters in the episode, and that's how it tells the story. I'm not just talking about they're being mean, they're doing this, they're doing that. I'm actually talking about how it sells the story. SpongeTruths has none of that, and SpongeTruths would never have anything like that.
They're willing to dogpile individuals for trivial stuff like this, then what?
Wait, trivial stuff? What are you talking about?
Scarier. Think about it. If they're willing to dogpile individuals for trivial stuff like this,
it's not trivial. They think that he's trying to assault SpongeBob. You could say that they're being rash. You could say that it's like they're too quick to beat up the old man. Also, to be honest, I didn't talk about this in my bully video, but this moment actually is pretty spot. And I think the bully is a flawed episode. The bully is a pretty flawed episode in terms of its message. But actually, the bully does want to make a comment about like the cycle of violence. And this actually does a good job of that, because SpongeBob is saying he's trying to kick my butt. They go and beat up the old man. That wasn't even the person who was going to kick the butt. Like, it's just senseless violence going around in a circle. It's actually a pretty poignant moment in what is an episode that doesn't really have a great lesson. That's probably why this is the most memorable joke from this episode, because it's actually a really good message. But this is another problem with AI, is that it's going to, like, you know what you say, like, it's the classic thing, AI gets things wrong. But while there are things that they could do with the algorithms that will make AI more accurate, it will always get things that are a matter of perspective wrong. Saying that this is trivial,
it's way scarier. Think about it. If they're willing to dogpile individuals for trivial stuff like this,
so saying that that's trivial is objectively incorrect. However, it's still a matter of perspective. So because it's a matter of perspective, what algorithm could you ever create that would get that right? What kind of mechanism, what kind of data center would you need to create in order for you to have text that is generated that understands this episode? And why would you need to do it when we already have people who can do that always?
Now, the mean streak is one thing, but Bikini Bottom...
Wait, what was that? Why do you suddenly have a box?
Guilty. Sure enough, it won't be pretty. Now, the
holy inconsistency. Why is there a box on this one? Why do you have a frame? Like, I have a frame. It was smaller back then. I made them bigger now. But I have frames in my videos. They used to be tinier. I was afraid of copyright. I thought that I had to make it tiny. Didn't realize I could make it a little bit bigger and not get copyrighted. But why have a box in this one shot?
Mean streak is
sometimes they do have frames around their footage, and sometimes it's just there with a shadow.
But Bikini Bottom's real.
It looks so much worse with the shadow. I don't like the shadow. I think footage like this should have frames. If you covered like the whole screen, I could see the shadows. Like, the shadows would be good. I do that with my gaming videos, because when I make videos on gaming, I like to cover the whole screen, because game footage doesn't get copyrighted. So I cover the whole screen with gaming footage. And if I'm playing like a GameCube game or a Game Boy Advance game that's not 16:9, I'll usually put shadows on each side of it. But this just looks sloppy. Can we ever get rid of AI, or is it impossible to contain anymore? Even if it's the latter, hopefully we can reduce the influence that it becomes a small nuisance. I think we can get rid of AI. I think it's possible. I do believe that. People argue with me about that. People will say AI is like guns, expansion is inevitable, moderation is key. I disagree. I actually disagree. I don't think that is true. AI, it's a lot harder. It's just the mechanism. So like, if we're comparing it to firearms can be created in a way that is a lot easier than AI. An AI data center, do you know how huge these things are? I mean, if we get to a point where, like, if you know how like the moon landing, if you have like the rocket that took us to the moon is now like has less data than like your cell phone. If we get to the point where what now takes massive data centers is like hard drive size, yeah, we're in big trouble. But that's not the reality right now. So I get what you mean. It's never going away. It can if we stop it. It totally can. If it were made illegal to have generative AI on the grounds of protecting the arts and preventing the spread of misinformation, which are two legal precedents that are completely reasonable, and you have it be where it's like, okay, OpenAI, okay, Anthropic, okay, Grok, you know, all this nonsense. You can't have your data centers generate text as if a person made it. You can have it search for text and give people text. You can't have it generate text. You can't have things that generate images. You can't have things that generate video. You can't have things that generate music. You can't have things that generate voices that sound like humans. These things are illegal. You can't build data centers that make them. Maybe other countries will. Maybe you'd have to restrict its existence if you know, log into one that's in China if we don't have jurisdiction over it. Fine, you know, that's tough. These are challenges, but it can be done. It can absolutely be done. Like, let's not act like it can't. Will it get done? Will it be hard to do? Is it unlikely to do because the population is mostly very dumb? Of course. But like, could it be done? Absolutely. You know, like, of course it could be done. You just there was a time where data centers that made AI generated images didn't exist. You could just make it illegal to build and operate them, and then AI generated images wouldn't be able to be generated anymore. It is that simple in theory. Actually doing it is the hard part, but it can be done. Like, let's not act like it can't be done. You know, it should be done. It definitely should be. We're gonna get regulation. We're not gonna get it anytime soon, but there's gonna be regulation. There's gonna be strong like, if we have regulation on copyright law. We do. We have regulation on copyright law, like we just do. And some of it's not perfect, you know, with the Mickey Mouse and the extension and all the Disney stuff. You know, there's a lot of problems with it. But we made these laws about copyright to protect the arts. We have always gone out of our way to protect the arts. We're not just going to let the arts get destroyed. It's not going to happen.
Let's start with Wormy. The plot's simple.
Wait, you do know about Wormy? So earlier, I was talking about how they're saying the SpongeBob destroyed the town multiple times. And that's why he deserves to get bullied by the background fish, because he destroyed the town multiple times, and they used Dying for Pie as an example. And I said, what about Wormy? And I was like, oh, okay, Wormy, they weren't thinking about Wormy, which it wasn't, because the AI didn't call Wormy as an example. But when the AI was writing this part of the video, it did call Wormy as an example. Let's say I did a version of this video where I wrote it, which would basically be my actual importance of the background fish, because I'd actually talk about story. But if I was talking about SpongeBob deserving something because SpongeBob destroyed the town, and I didn't think of Wormy at that point, I didn't use it as an example, but later in that same video, I was like, oh, I'm going to talk about Wormy. I'd be like, oh, wait, SpongeBob destroyed the town in Wormy. I'm going to go back and write into the earlier part about Wormy. I'm going to add that in. AI can't do that. A person could do that, but the person who runs this channel doesn't know anything about SpongeBob, so it wouldn't be able to do that. Also with the border, why not use this border the whole time?
SpongeBob and Patrick are taking care of Sandy's pet caterpillar, Wormy, while she's away. They play with it.
SpongeBob and Patrick are taking care of Sandy's pet caterpillar. So it is a caterpillar, but the point is that you're supposed to think it's a worm, and then it turns into a butterfly. So you're framing the episode incorrectly. Because if they knew it was a caterpillar, they would know it becomes a butterfly. The point is that they think it's a worm. They don't know it's a caterpillar. So if you frame the episode when you're just lazily recapping it, saying that they're taking care of a caterpillar, it completely uproots the actual thing.
But then Wormy goes into a cocoon. SpongeBob and Patrick assume he's gone forever. They start mourning like they just lost a family member.
Wait, why no border here? What's with the inconsistency?
Until
This doesn't make any sense. Wait, why is there a border here but not here? Is there a reason for this?
I mean, sure, they have never seen a butterfly on the ocean floor, but nobody even bothered asking what it is. Nobody is asking.
Again, like, that's the point. Say the point of the story is that they see a thing they're not familiar with and they freak out and destroy the town. That's all you have to do. You can say the same thing. You just say that's what the story is. The lesson is that the panic can cause more damage than the threat itself. Exactly. That's the point of the episode. But he's criticizing the background fish and their actions as if that's the problem with the episode. Like the tone and the way it's delivered, it's implying that it's bad writing that the background fish didn't ask what the butterfly was. That's what it's implying. But that would be a terrible episode. If in the episode it went, if the episode was they released the butterfly and they were like, what is this thing? I don't know. Let's call Sandy. And Sandy's like, oh, Wormy turned into a butterfly. Okay, that's fun. That's not an episode. That's not a story.
Wormy doesn't even do anything. It's
Wormy doesn't even do anything. Yeah, we know.
the fishes of Bikini Bottom that destroy their own city. Then you've got Sandy, SpongeBob.
Oh, holy what is
the fishes of
this?
Bikini Bottom that destroy their own city. Then you've got
This is so blatant now. I felt like they were avoiding using AI images. This is just so blatant. Like, what is this? There are so many images of this show. Do you know how many screenshots there are of SpongeBob? Why would you generate this? Just use the Conch Street background. You know how many? You could find it in 2 seconds.
got Sandy, SpongeBob, and the worm. This is the Alaskan bullworm episode.
Sandy, SpongeBob, and the worm uses Wormy. That's not the same worm.
And the story is about Bikini Bottom.
Another border, a different border.
The town decides they need a hero moment for themselves, which is following Patrick's plan to move Bikini Bottom by all pushing it.
The town decides that they need a hero moment by themselves. That's not what this episode is. They do it because they think that Sandy's not going to succeed. Mr. Krabs goes, what are you going to do? Let's try your suggestion. What are you talking about, SpongeTruths? What are you talking about?
A whole city agrees that relocating the town by shoving it is a realistic civic response. But the craziest example.
Yes, that's the joke. That is the joke. Congratulations. That is why that joke is funny.
And SpongeBob realizes
Another
he
random
forgot one.
border.
A mad, or maybe ask a real vet for an answer. No, they just think this is a good time for an outbreak. Because
It's the same thing. It's just the same stuff. It's just saying the plot of the episode, but not adding any commentary.
all they need is one provocateur to light them up and start rioting. Especially this fish, Harold the Dogfish.
Harold the Dogfish? Is that his actual title? I feel like this is also, I mean, obviously we already know it's AI, but that feels like an AI tale, right? Harold the Dogfish. Because I look up Harold the Dogfish and it does say that he is a dogfish. That's the kind of fish that he is. But like, that's something that AI would pull. You know, I wouldn't, if I mentioned this background fish, I wouldn't think, oh, Harold the Dogfish. I would say that's Harold. He is a dogfish. That is official. That is the kind of fish that he is. But like AI like figures that out and puts it as Harold the Dogfish, like it's his title.
I swear, man, every time the whole town is on the edge of a problem, he's the one who always pops the bubble.
Also, like such a cold take. Yeah, we know that this fish, he's the one with the big meaty claws.
Heck, he's the reason they all fight during Band Geek's training session.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Media illiterate take.
Big meaty claws!
He's the reason they fight during Band Geeks? No, the tensions are high with everyone. He's like the straw that broke the camel's back.
What did you say, punk?
Harold is the real culprit behind half the riots in Bikini Bottom. And
Half? That's quite a claim. Harold is the culprit behind half? I'm just going to say you're wrong, all right? I could go through everything that happens in SpongeBob. No way it's half. This is the one specific background fish.
I guess the people are so used to rioting over the years, they just go along with it without any real reason. In the episode Sing
More fan art. This is definitely stolen, lifted fan art, just taken.
song for Patrick, we can see there are people
What was the point of that? Why would you steal
go
fan
along
art
with it
of-
without any real reason. In the episode Sing a Song for Patrick,
Why did they steal fan art of a superhero Patrick in an episode that he's not a superhero in?
there are people selling pitchforks and torches from a cart on the side of the road. It's a great bit.
It's a joke, bro. You know what like annoys me about this? Describing the
Patrick,
joke.
we can see there are people selling pitchforks and torches from a cart on the side of the road.
Okay, so what they're doing, that's just the joke from the episode. You know, like if you watched this video and you looked at that part and you went, ha, and you like laughed, like if you like laughed at this moment in the SpongeTruths video, what you are laughing at is the joke that the SpongeBob writers wrote. He's just taking their joke. And it's just less funny because it's just an AI voice describing the joke rather than the actual episode where that moment is hilarious. When they're going and they're riding, get your pitchforks here. It's so funny. I love that part of this episode. And I'm not a huge fan of this episode. You're just taking the joke.
One of the first examples that comes to mind is the Great Snail Race.
One of the first examples that come to mind, you've given like 20 examples already. What are you talking about? One of the first examples.
Compete with Snelly and Rocky, but everything turns into one of...
Oh, yeah. SpongeBob enters the Great Snail Race to compete with Snelly and Rocky. Not going to give any context to what those two entities, who we've never heard of, if you haven't seen the episode, you can't just say Snelly and Rocky like we know who they are. You can say, like he said it as if he said, oh, yeah, like SpongeBob is he's competing with Squidward. Because you can assume that the audience would know who Squidward is. Snelly and Rocky, but AI doesn't understand that. AI looks through the description of this episode. They see Snelly and Rocky as if they're just mentioned as often as a main character would be in this one episode. So the AI doesn't understand that someone watching a review of this episode would need more context as to what Snelly and Rocky are.
Which is why the bikini bottomites are idiots joke isn't really about fish. It's about us. Because
That's my point. I said that. That is, oh, you thief. Oh, what videos I talk about that? I say that all the time, that the background fish are just like people. The Christmas one is a good example. Thank you so much. Someone remembering my videos better than me. I think it was the Christmas one. Yep.
I also would like to acknowledge the role of the townspeople in this special and how they enhance the episode. Something special about the SpongeBob background fish compared to other shows is just how well they reflect real people.
Oh, you... No way, SpongeTruths!
bottomites are idiots joke isn't really about fish. It's about us.
It's about us.
It's just how well they reflect real people. Finicky
is just how well they reflect real people. December 13th, 2025. They're about us. February 26, 2026.
Started. And the rest of the town, they're not evil masterminds either. They're just
They're not this. They're
comfortable
this.
being wrong together. It's their rate, which is why the town's behavior keeps cycling the same way. Something weird happened.
You know what else is weird? It said they're about us. And then it stopped really, it didn't like go, it went on. So like the AI was on like a flow. It's on a flow where it's just saying like, oh, the background fish are bad, the background fish are bad. But then there's this one moment where it came in and said the thing that I totally said. And then it just goes right back into the flow. They do this, they do that, they do that, they do that. And it's not like talking about the arguments like how I did in my video. See what I said about them just compared to like that.
I also would like to acknowledge the role of the townspeople in this special and how they enhance the episode. Something special about the SpongeBob background fish compared to other shows is just how well they reflect real people. Finicky, entitled, a little unhinged, but still deep down good. The townspeople have a major presence throughout the episode. Their acceptance, rejection, and subsequent re-acceptance of Christmas through the actions of SpongeBob and Squidward are the stakes.
So that's kind of the same as what I said about them in Pretty Patties.
Of the episode. And like most SpongeBob episodes, it doesn't shy away from portraying the flaws of humanity through the background characters. They're
portraying the flaws of humanity through the background characters. Yeah, that's what it took from me.
They're entitled with all the stuff they ask for. They're rude to SpongeBob when they don't get what they want. And in a lot of ways, one could argue that they don't actually deserve the sacrifices that Squidward is making for them. But with that in mind, are the background fish really so different from humanity?
Dude, it's like the same thing. It's like the same thing. Except like that one it's through this filter. And it makes it not mean anything. So it's taking like, I mean, I guess it's subjective, I'm tooting my own horn here, but like what I'm saying here is really
and like most
strong,
SpongeBob episodes.
I'm talking about the point of the episode that like, and I'm talking about Christmas too. Like, does humanity deserve Christmas when it does bad things? And like the episode is saying yes, and I'm saying yes. And like, that's beautiful. But when you filter it through AI, all you get is background fish are like people. They do all bad things. Bye-bye, I'm SpongeTruths. Like, that's what you get from that. So glad I watched that video yesterday. I am so glad you watched my Christmas video in February so that you could let me know that that was the video where I said that about the background fish.